to begin with the breaking news from Israel with the deepening turmoil there over Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's move to limit the independence of the country's Supreme Court. Weeks and weeks of protests have led to this. You're looking at the scene outside the Israeli legislature. That's the Knesset in Jerusalem. And a new wave of protest erupted yesterday after the defense minister there was fired for calling for a delay in this plan until after Easter and Passover. This morning, labor unions called for a general strike, and the protests may have actually forced Netanyahu and his right-wing government to reconsider, or at least consider a pause. Charlie D'Agata is following this story from London. Charlie, good morning.
Good morning to you, Tony. Israel is bracing for further protests today, and the prime minister is facing the greatest threat yet to his coalition government. There are now reports that you mentioned he may halt that overhaul following a long night of nationwide demonstrations.
Organizers called for a night of chaos, and demonstrators by the tens of thousands delivered. Protesters poured onto the streets of Tel Aviv, taking over the main highway, shouting, "Israel is not a dictatorship," blowing air horns, blocking traffic and burning tires. Riot police deployed water cannon, drenching the crowds.
It's not a matter of left or right. It's a matter of pure, basic human rights that are being crushed daily.
Protests also broke out in Jerusalem, around the Israeli legislative building, and outside the home of Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, shouting, "Shame, shame." The eruption came on the back of Netanyahu's firing of his defense minister for breaking ranks with the prime minister's hardline policies. The growing rift in our society is penetrating the Israeli Defense Force and security agencies, said Yoav Gallant. It poses a clear, immediate, and tangible threat to the security of the state. Critics have come down hard on Netanyahu's highly controversial plans to overhaul the judicial system. The proposals would see government control over the appointment of judges, including the Supreme Court, while restricting the court's rights to veto legislation or rule against the government. That's been met with weeks of anti-government protests and nationwide strikes.
Unions have gone on strike, shutting down the universities and grounding flights out of Israel's main airport. Another mass demonstration has been called for this afternoon outside of Parliament. Tony?
And, of course, if that legislation to overhaul the courts does pass, who gets to look at it? The courts. They could veto it, causing an even deeper crisis. Charlie, thank you very much.